Is Derrick Lewis the kind of person that's going to put him on the floor? Almost, almost definitely not. But maybe not because not because he's planning on wrestling him and submitting him, but because it might be easier for him to tie him up. If he's getting walked down, and if Tai Tuivasa has a speed advantage, which I think he might. I mean, obviously Derrick Lewis is very powerful. He's very quick, and he's very very explosive off the mark, but he's not fast as far as combinations go when it comes to hand strikes. I do think Tai Tuivasa's got the advantage there. So you might find Derrick Lewis level changing. You might find him clip Tai Tuivasa and knock him down and take top position. The punching power of Derrick Lewis does transfer to the floor. It wouldn't surprise me if we see him getting a TKO finish from a top position, mount, half guard, something like that. But I do think it's more likely that he's going to find himself there because he's hurt Tai Tuivasa on the feet. With Derrick Lewis, there are a few different versions of him that you get. Of course, power punching is the underlying factor. But sometimes he pushes forward, sometimes he's very aggressive and he tries to cut the space down and apply his power punching proactively. Other times, especially if his confidence has started to break in the fight, like it did in the Cyril Gane fight, sometimes he'll back up and he'll kind of wait for you to come to him. I mean, he's equally as dangerous, and I don't really think there's a plan either way. I don't think he's intentionally trying to walk you onto a particular punch. I think he's trying to walk himself into a range where he feels comfortable to throw punches. As he's moving back, he tends to throw based on the other person walking into that range. Usually he's kind of uncomfortable, he's a bit fatigued. We do see this from time to time. So he does kind of back up and cover himself and look, like physically like he's struggling mentally. You can see it in his posture. But he's still very, very dangerous. And we can't forget that. Tai Tuivasa's never been knocked out clean. He's taken big shots. He's got a good chin. But he can't be walking forward against Derrick Lewis, who is a devastating puncher. Of course, you can never take your eyes off the ball. And the best example of that, of course, is Alexander Volkov, which, he was winning all the fight until the last 11 seconds where he got his clock cleaned. And, that is just a perfect example of what Derrick Lewis brings to the table. Fight-changing power at any moment. Now, of course, we've not seen Tai Tuivasa really hurt, in the way that you would expect against, someone else would be with like Derrick Lewis. But it doesn't mean he can't be, If Ty's finding his rhythm, and if he's, if Derrick Lewis is starting to look tired and he's starting to lag, or he's taking a good body shot and he's covering, or whatever it is, you just can't count him out, right? Of course, the Volkov fight is a good example, but this is one of my favorites. This was JDS, and he didn't win this fight. This one didn't work out particularly well for him. But there were a couple of really scary moments for JDS in this process. So watch this. This is JDS coming over the top, and this, ideal case scenario for Tai Tuivasa. Derrick Lewis backed up against the fence. This was just a little bit too soon, too early, before JDS had really put in some groundwork. I mean, this fight was over in the second round. I think this clip was from the first. He'd just not done enough to make Derrick Lewis weak enough to take these big chances against, which is something that Tai can learn about. So check this. Big winging shot over the top. Catches him. Right across the chin. Derrick Lewis is hurt, and of course, this is a good opportunity when you see him duck like this to attack him, because of course you feel like he's weakened. So you go rushing in, and Derrick Lewis starts backing up, and then crack right in the side of the head. This is the danger. You hit him with a couple of shots. His posture breaks. He looks like he's reeling, like he's retreating, and he starts to run away, starts to back up, and then you just run onto one of those shots. And we've seen it so many times. I mean, Marcin Tybura, it happened with him. People tend to run onto this power because he's not very good at having a poker face. He's not very good at staying stoic and calm and not letting you know what's going on in his mind. But sometimes it works in his favor. Here's another example from the same fight. Poor old JDS ran onto that, took it well. So this is JDS. He's got him backed up against the fence. He spins, beautifully placed back kick right to the solar plexus. And I don't blame Derrick Lewis at all for this, because most people would have had this exact same reaction. What I do love, though, as he's postured over like this, of course, think about this. Tai Tuivasa might go flying in with a knee here. Now, where have we seen that before? Fedor against Andrei Arlovski. Yeah, they go flying in with a knee, and what's waiting for them? Whack. And he even gets his leg up, just misses that kick, and catches him right underneath his head and knocks him off balance. Again, not ideal case scenario, but just reinforces the danger that Derrick Lewis presents all the time. Here's the back kick, look. Brings his hand up to cover because, of course, he was expecting the spinning head kick, which is what JDS is well known for. Oh, dear. Right into the midsection. And you can see Derrick Lewis just fold here. But he is also keeping an eye on the feet of JDS. And as JDS starts to come in here, as the kick comes, Derrick Lewis is already loading this right hand, and it's going to come straight over the top. Cracks him, knocks him off balance. Then there's a bit of a scramble, but he is genuinely hurt. I mean, he wasn't pretending. Like I said, he's not got a great poker face. But again, ideal case scenario, Derrick Lewis, he keeps you against the fence. He's not backed up. He's not tired. That is not ideal case scenario. He's not throwing pot shots at you because he's feeling pressured against the fence. That's not the ideal case scenario. Ideal for Derrick Lewis, he's the same place that Tai Tuivasa likes to occupy, right in front of you, pushed up against the fence. A rock and a hard place, replace it with a fence and a heavyweight. That's exactly what you've got in this fight, and it's going to be one way or the other. Someone's going to be trapped between their opponent and the fence, and I wouldn't like to be in that situation, not either of these guys, because I think they've both got the ability to knock each other out, and that's what makes this so interesting. So Chris Daukaus, who I'll be honest, I picked him to win this fight. I thought this might be his opportunity to really show his striking skills, but it just goes to show you. I would say Daukaus has got better boxing. I would say he has got better jiu-jitsu. I mean, Derrick Lewis is a blue belt and Daukaus is a black belt. Technically more skilled. The difference is the punching power of Derrick Lewis and about, 30 pounds in weight. When Derrick Lewis decides to go, you've got a whole volume of punches coming in your way, and every single one of them could knock you out. Most of them aren't going to land, but it doesn't matter what they do land on, it's going to hurt. And Daukaus here is under fire. Now, there are brief moments in these flurries where Derrick Lewis does freeze for a moment and he'll tie the opponent up and he'll take a breather. Or sometimes he'll allow his opponent to tie him up. Like in this moment here, look, you can see there's a brief body lock, but then Derrick Lewis throws a great knee to the midsection. He actually goes for a trip here. I do like that he tries these things, even though they're not always necessarily technically correct. There we go. You see him grab the back of the head of Daukaus. Tie clinch. Good knee to the midsection. And then this is the lethality of Derrick Lewis. Look how he steps out with this foot here. So we're watching his left foot step across, and with that, very much like the punch that DC knocked out Stipe with the first time, he just rocks into his right hook. There. And he throws two, and Daukaus is done. And as he rushes, he's just finished there. He's just out. That's the thing. That's the danger with Derrick Lewis, is that it can be the shortest of shots. It can be from the weirdest of angles, and he can still put you out. I mean, think of the shot that he landed against Curtis Blades on the level change. I mean, he caught him at such a weird angle, but Blades was marbleized. He was stiff. That's a scary kind of power, which is why it makes this so exciting.